Hello and welcome to the Little Minds Big Ideas podcast with the Early Years Network. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a lovely weekend.
It's always really weird you saying that.
I know.
I still can't get my head around every time it throws me.
We've done this for over a year now.
It's because I start looking at you. It's not Monday, Emily.
No, it's not, but it will be when people are listening.
Magic of the internet.
Yeah, it is, or podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, there's stuff to be involved with the internet somewhere, shape or form. I don't post them to anyone.
Very true. Very true. This week we've got a fun one.
We have. And it's topical.
It is topical, but we are going to kick off with what is new on the platform. Do you have a jingle for that?
What is new on the platform?
I didn't like that one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But anyway, what is new on the platform? So I have recorded my latest strategy video, which is all about mood boosting and positivity. I talk about it all the time. Positive mental health for children. So 5 strategies for mood boosting and positivity in your settings, which will be with you next week.
And we have a lot more strategies to come, don't we?
We do. I've done loads of planning. So, yeah.
Because your previous strategies video went down a real hit.
It did.
So it's not just the theoretical components of it. It's nice that it delves into the more practical, combining it with the theoretical. Yeah,
things that you can literally put straight into your settings. The next cluster of strategy videos that I'm working on is group times. So keep an eye out for those as well.
Which will be useful because we often get a lot of questions about group times.
We do.
Like after
how you can make them better, why they're so important to do different things, how you can make them more exciting. So yeah, I've got 5 videos, I think, coming on strategies for group times.
Because whenever we ask for questions, group times often comes around like maths intervention and targeted and focused at points in the day, and it can often feel quite schooly. And the negative sides of schooly creeping into early years, and it often can become quite forced, quote unquote, education. Yeah,
no, so that will be coming soon on that. So, but next up on the platform, not the podcast, on the platform is my strategies video all about positivity and mood boosting. So that should be with you this week, if not early part of next week.
It'll definitely be with you this week. I promise.
You sure? Yeah. Or you can all hold him to that.
It will. It'll probably Thursday, Friday.
So check out the earlyearsnetwork.co.uk to be one of the first people to check it out.
And if you've not already seen Emily's first lesson from your strategies class, all about...
Can you not remember? De-escalation.
De-escalation is actually available for free over on YouTube.
It is the first episode, lesson.
You're all over the place today.
I'm confusing my podcasts and my platforms.
And your episodes.
And my episodes and my classes and my lessons.
That first lesson is available where you break down sort of the ideas and the sciencey bit behind de-escalation. So if you want to check that out, of course, for free, head over to YouTube, the Early Years Network. You'll find us on any platform just by typing the Early Years Network. Yeah, actually saying that, does it come up with podcasts if you type the Early Years Network in? I don't know. Because obviously it's Little Minds Big Ideas podcast. Never actually gone on to Spotify or Apple and typed
I'm
in.
not sure, actually.
Might do that later on.
We'll have
actually works.
But yeah, so that's what you can find new over on the earlyearsnetwork.co.uk. And remember, memberships are only £4.99 a month for all of the classes done by myself, Ben, Lucy and Olivia. So they're all on there for £4.99 a month.
That's a penny less than some horrifically overpriced ice creams I bought over the weekend.
It is, yes. And you get them for a whole month.
Yeah, well, these ice creams only lasted a few days.
Yeah, they're much better value for money. In the news. We've got one all about SEN reform, haven't we?
We have. Interesting one because it was a report, an independent report by ISOS Partnership. And really, they're telling us everything we already know. SEN is at an all-time high, the amount of children being diagnosed across not just our industry, but in society as a whole. And the reasons for that, I'll let everyone else ponder and talk through. But it's interesting because every nursery setting at this point is saying we're facing a higher and higher volume of children who need, across the whole spectrum, from really needing support to, there's some things we've identified. And I don't know if this is just because we're becoming, as a society, more aware of these needs and these requirements, or we're getting better at spotting it, or I don't know. But it is definitely becoming more and more of a thing. And the report simply just breaks down that early years intervention is absolutely critical in making sure that we have a structured plan in place because we've spotted these signs, we've put together and formulated these plans and these support plans to help these children. And then as they enter school, it's absolutely pivotal that we have these in place. And it then gives better outcomes to these children because obviously we're all on top of it, we're aware of it, and we're providing what the child needs. But the report then breaks down, actually, it might be great to have this early years support in place, but at the moment, there's large volumes of staff that are untrained in it. We need more training. We need more funding to be going into the sector. We need more spaces and opportunities. And it's the same old story across the board of early years, whether we're talking about SEND or just early years in general. And it always boils back down to the same thing. But I think it's positive the more that we're getting this message out. And this report is highlighting this. I think it can only be a good thing. And hopefully, fingers crossed, the new government pick up on this, act on it, and in some way, shape, or form. I mean, even just simplifying the process, because the process itself is so arduous. Even across, we've only got 4 nurseries, but we actually have a team of people now, effectively, helping, not as a full-time job, but as part of the job, to actually just see this through and deal with this structure. I was just going to say,
I think we are dealing with it at the moment firsthand, and it's so, the process, and I even said this to a colleague on Friday, that I really feel for these parents, because it must feel like you're jumping through hoops just to sort out support for your child for genuinely their basic needs.
And it's so inconsistent, because some children can get such a high level of support and funding, and you think, okay, I get it, the child needs support, but crikey, that's a lot of money. I'm not really sure what I'm going to buy with all that money. And then some people think, right, desperately need one-to-one and support. And it's like you're a criminal, you're fighting for... Do you know what I mean? It's like you're trying to fraud someone. And it's crazy. The one phrase that always gets me, and it might just be our local council, but they're making too much progress. Yeah.
So the funding's been cut. And you think, what the fuck?
And then you get settings thinking, right, actually, well, let's just fabricate these reports, even though the child's doing really, really well, because if we say he's doing too well, then...
we're going to get it whipped away. And then when it does get whipped away and the one-to-one and the support can't be given,
spirals.
The child's progress goes backwards, and then you say, oh, well, the process to get it back. And it did happen to us, and I genuinely remember thinking, must have been a mistake. It must have just been a mistake. So resubmitted it. No, it wasn't a mistake. And then we have to communicate that with the parent, and we're the bad guys.
Yeah, because the parents are quite rightly really frustrated, and we're the only face. There's no face when it comes to reply. We're the face. So, the parents going to take it out on us. And
it's so annoying.
And so be it. But so hopefully we saw that in the news the other day. Fingers crossed it means some good news is around the corner again.
I hope so.
And again, it's with a sensible hat on. I don't expect a shed load of money to be thrown at it. No. But just make, like you said, funding slightly more fair and easier to access.
Just make the process easier for us to understand and all get our heads around. Because one of our colleagues has literally been back and forth with the council 6 times on the same thing. Because, you didn't put this on the report. Well, nobody told. It's just so painful.
The final most recent rejection was because the invoice name didn't match up on the two documentation we sent across, because one had the settings name on it and address, and the other one had the head office and name and address. It's just think, Christ,
I know.
And I get it. They're just doing their job, but at some point, somebody must be pulling the strings and be able to sit down and go, right, what is going on here?
Exactly. But we could talk about that all day, but that was in the news.
In the news.
And now we're going to talk about something a little bit more fun and lighthearted.
And topical. I guess that was topical because it was in the news.
It was.
Inevitably.
But this is also topical.
We are taking a quick trip over to Paris.
En français.
En français.
Bonjour, everybody.
That's if they haven't committed arson on the tracks and we're actually able to get there.
I know, it must be awful.
That, and combined with the weather.
Oh, the weather. Do you know what?
What an awful start for the Olympics this year.
It was bright sunshine on Friday night, and I was with my granddad celebrating his birthday, and the weather was...
His 92nd birthday, can I just say as well?
91st.
What was it?
91st.
Oh, I mugged myself. I've told everybody it was his 92nd.
Oh, well, it was definitely his 91st.
Are you sure?
Yes, because he was 90 last year.
You weren't there, though, 91 years ago, so you might be wrong.
Well, he might not know anymore. No, 91st, so it's still incredible. And it was gorgeous sunshine, and we watched the opening ceremony, and it was pissing it down with rain. And I just thought,
But it still is, even this morning, for the continuity purposes, we're recording this on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Or Saturday afternoon. And this morning they were cleaning the windows, weren't they, in the background?
Oh, because it was just so rainy and so, bless. I do feel for them because you plan and you plan and you plan. I think July, Paris.
Gorgeous.
It's going to be stunning.
Oh.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oh, oui, oui.
Apologies to any French listeners for our accents. This could happen for a couple of weeks now, so apologies.
Maybe we should do an Olympic update every week whilst it's on. I mean, that's probably like that's probably two. So
you deal with that.
Okay.
Do it on the socials.
We could have a sports correspondence.
Yeah, that could be you.
And go live to Ben Jones in Paris. Hello, Emily. And I'm
just sat on the other side of the sofa.
But no, it's been a good morning, hasn't it? I love watching the Olympics.
Ben loves it so much that we've organised a sweepstake with our friends and family, and we've all been given 2 teams, but we're a team, aren't we? So we're doing it together, and we've got Spain and Ethiopia.
The mighty Ethiopians.
If we don't win the marathon, I'm going to be livid, because that's what we're in for.
I think the favourites are Kenyan, in it. I can't remember.
I want to win something.
We will. They've got 33 athletes going to the Olympics.
Most of them are runners.
32 of them are runners, and one of them is a swimmer.
Woo!
But Ethiopia tend to always produce the world's slowest swimmer.
Okay, well, we'll try. But so we're doing that. So yes, you love the Olympics.
I do, because do you know what I love most about it? You end up watching sports that for 4 years I don't even know exist, let alone watch. I mean, running, I occasionally watch like the Diamond League if it's on a Saturday morning on the BBC, blah, blah, blah. But it's things like, start watching. Well, last Olympics, it was in Japan. And I still can't, I was talking to my mum the other day, actually. I can't believe the last Olympics was in front of nobody, because it was 20, whatever it was, and it was COVID. So in Japan, they were masked and there was no crowd. And that seems a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
but it was only 3 years ago, because they did it in 21, didn't they? Because it was one of those where it was push back.
Like the Euros, yeah.
And you end up watching sports, though. Remember we were watching skateboarding or whatever it was in the last one?
That. She did so well, didn't she? Yeah. Her name's Sky, isn't it?
She was only like 14 or 15 years old, wasn't she, at the time? And that's absolutely mental. But all of them were really young. I remember there was that one guy who came out who was like in his 30s. You're like, he looks... That's a bit suspect.
What have you been doing?
But yeah, you just end up watching sports that you'd never think to do, like judo or fencing and shooting and archery and handball and volleyball, and it's just stuff that you're completely unaware of for 4 years, and then it comes around and it's just really exciting. Or badminton.
We love badminton.
We do, and we watched it last time, and it's just you get really into it for a short period of time, and then you go out and you start playing badminton.
Well, going to the Olympics.
I don't know, it's a good shout. Paddler, what's the other one? What's what you said Danny plays?
Handball.
No, I didn't play handball.
Table tennis.
No, you didn't play table tennis. The other one, it's the shorter version of the whole thing.
I'm sure it's handball.
It's not handball, it's like hockey, but with your hands.
Is it?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. We'll find out later.
So, with the Olympics, we wanted to talk about our memories from the Olympics.
So where are we going to start?
I think so.
Memories of being inspired by the athletes. What's the first Olympics you remember?
I don't know. I'm not very good with dates and remembering times and stuff.
I'm assuming, can you remember the Athens Olympics in Greece?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't remember things happening.
What about the Beijing Olympics? That was 2008.
I remember the Beijing Olympics, yeah.
So you remember that one?
Yeah.
Because I remember the opening ceremony really clearly from that, because it was like grand, and it was like they called the nest or the bird's nest or something was the arena.
Yes.
Do you remember? Because it was all like steel. But like actually something from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the looked like the throne.
So the throne itself. That was the first one I remember, because it wasn't that when Usain Bolt really burst on the scene?
Yes,
and won
I think
something.
so. I do remember the Beijing Olympics vaguely, but like I remember them happening, and I don't really remember like who won and things like that.
Yeah, and then obviously the one after that was in London, 2012.
Yes. You did go.
Which shout out my mum, decided to book a family holiday for 2 weeks in Turkey. The exact 2 weeks that the Olympic Games was in London. So me and my family were sat in Turkey watching it in German, because that's the only channel we could find on
no.
Eurosport watching the Olympics. But, you know.
We went to Manchester and we watched the football for the Olympics. And I remember my sister had just had a small operation on her foot.
Right.
And we had to walk up. There was so much walking. It was me, my dad, and my sister.
Was this at the stadium? But I will not.
Yes, that's why I've not said it.
Okay, cool.
And she didn't move for like 6 hours because she was like, I'm not walking down the stairs.
How many games did you watch?
2.
Right, okay.
And then there's like a break in
She
the
didn't
middle.
just refuse to leave.
No. We watched Great Britain, which was really cool. I can't remember if they won. I'm going to say they did.
It was the only time they've all... Well, maybe they did by the past,
Maybe they
but
got
nowadays...
I can't remember.
They don't take part in it, do they?
I can't remember. But yeah, so we watched that. And then we also went to the Paralympics in London, which was amazing. And it was
at the actual stadium.
We went to the Olympic Stadium. We saw long jump. I think we saw like when blind people doing long jump. And you just watch. I know. It was one of those things where you just think, how on earth, like, what incredible people. And there was one moment where there was I can't remember the distance, but it was a running race as
opposed to any other race.
So they did a running race. And I remember this guy, I don't know where he was from, and he had no arms. I think it was no arms. And he was very behind the other athletes. But oh my goodness, it was so emotional when he finished the race. Everyone was cheering him on, and oh my God, you just got goosebumps.
Well, it's just, the Paralympics is great. And also, it also reminds me of, what's the game organised by the Prince? Do you know what I'm...
the
Invictus Games, something like that. It's always just testament to just sheer human determination and desire to do and achieve, isn't it?
Yeah, and we also saw the wheelchair basketball that day as well. Oh my God, it's one of the most intense
Do you know what I didn't know
games ever.
Do you know what I didn't know about wheelchair basketball? I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm fairly sure I saw that they don't actually have to be wheelchair bound.
Oh, really?
So I think they have to have a disability, obviously, to take part in the Paralympics. You can't just have like LeBron James in a wheelchair. But I don't think all of them are actually quote unquote wheelchair bound. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that
you have to be very good at using a wheelchair though to play that game.
Oh god, it's a skill.
And then we saw the wheelchair tennis as well.
Can you imagine seeing someone who's really good at like wheelchair basketball, just like manoeuvring around Asdas?
Let's go. But it's quite interesting because my memory from that was that the tickets to go to see the Paralympics were fairly easy to get, and the stadiums weren't full. And whereas getting tickets to the actual Olympics was like really difficult.
But the thing is, nowadays you're not just competing with people in England, are you?
All over the place. Yeah. But that's one of my memories from Olympics and Paralympics was actually going and being in the Olympic Stadium while the athletics was going on was amazing.
I think one of the things I love about Olympics, so I remember from an early age, is how many countries you're introduced to. Because, like, obviously I'm mad about all sports and any sport. I'll watch anything. But you go from, like, football where it's, like, fairly normal, like a normal collection of countries, isn't it? Like, I don't mean normal, but consistent.
Countries that you recognise.
Yeah, you've got France, Germany, England, and then from Africa you have like Cameroon, Nigeria. Like it's often the same old. Yet in the Olympics, you can get one individual who's incredibly passionate, represents their country, and you just get Kenya or Ethiopia, like we talked about earlier, or even like the Isle of Man. Or do you know what I mean? Like it's incredible the diversity you get, and I just think it's amazing for that as a young child, just to see
definitely
the wideness of the world in effect, isn't it?
It's a great way to introduce children to so many different parts of the world on the TV screens, like there and then for 2 weeks. There's people from all over the place, all the different national anthems. Saying that, you'll probably normally just hear China's. They win that many goals.
It's the diving. They were absolutely incredible.
They were.
Goes to show their
drama on Saturday morning with the diving.
Oh, yeah. How can you miss the diving board?
Australian girl. Do you know what though? You do feel for her because she's trained so much for that moment.
It's like I said to you.
It worked for us because we got bronze.
Yeah, it's like It's like I said to you this morning, though, like watching the Olympics and the winners. Okay, there are a collection of celebrities like Max Whitlock, I guess you can go that bracket, but like America, they've got like LeBron James, Simona Biles. Like you have got celebrity names. Usain Bolt was as celebrity as they get. Phelps was as big as
Adam Peaty.
Peaty is. Yeah, like you have some of the star names, but in general, when you hear them talk, this is a lifetime of work for them, and they're just normal. It's just Sarah, or it's just Hannah, or it's just Craig.
Yeah,
it's just individual people who have worked and dedicated so much, and it's just so lovely to see like that jubilance, that happiness at the end of it.
The passion that comes through as well, and they're also one of my other favourite things is that thinking of the diving this morning. The Chinese, the Americans and Great Britain were all just so happy for each other because they'd all just won a medal and they were all hugging each other. They were just so excited for other people as well because they know firsthand how much hard work goes into it.
Yeah.
So it must be an amazing feeling to support somebody else.
And they're all in that village as well, aren't they? Like the actual experience for them must be incredible. Yeah.
One of my other favourite things about the Olympics is Tom Daley's knitting.
Oh, I don't know. Is that not just a...
Oh, I love it.
I feel like he's just doing it now. It's like it's a bit...
No, he knits all the time.
I know, but surely like as a professional, like just putting it in a way.
He's just, it's the way he gets in the zone, he chills out. I love it.
Oh, I think it's a bit of social media work.
No. Oh, see, he's literally just posted something actually like, God, the comments on this are incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love Tom Daley, though.
Not for me.
I once met Tom Daley at a book signing and I was violently sick.
What, on him?
No, thankfully not on him. But I remember I went with my sister and my friend and we queued outside Adidas in London and I had his new book and I had to go to the Starbucks down the road and I vomited everywhere.
Well, his first games was it Athens or was it...
No, Beijing.
Well, he was 14 though, wasn't he, when he first did it? So... Athens was 20 years ago. Is he 34 now?
No, I don't think so.
Or is he 30 then?
I think he's, not too far.
So it must have been 2008.
But yeah, I vomited everywhere, went back to the store, felt so much better. Met him, was on such a high, okay?
Yeah.
And then we got McDonald's on the way home and I was sick on the tube again. It was not a great day for me.
What's wrong with you?
And then we got to Euston and we ran into Dick and Dom.
Who?
You know Dick and Dom?
I don't know who Dick and Dom are.
They're like the children's version of Alan Deck. I might get some really the ones that do bogies. No, Dick and Don.
There's an age gap between them.
I haven't watched them. They used to do telly, but I know who they are. Anyway, ran into Dick and Dom again. Was like, oh my god,
that is a statement. It's hilarious.
And then I was sick again on the way home. So it could have been an amazing day, but it wasn't.
A real emotional roller coaster.
Tom Daley, and he was so lovely. Just love him. Anyway, sorry, went on a detour about athletes. He's one of those celebrities.
Yeah, he's massively one of those celebrities. But we also then tried to break down some of the key areas, the importance of sport, bringing it back into the space of early years, and I guess child education, like development as a whole.
Sorry, I went on a tangent.
And the importance...
bringing me back.
and the importance of sport, not just connected to the Olympics, but obviously, as we've discussed, the Olympics is a huge... source of inspiration and real eye-opener probably for children. So if you can give them the chance to watch it, and obviously their concentration in it will be waning, but just to open their eyes to it. And children generally, if they see mum and dad quite intrigued and interested in something, their interest will momentarily follow suit as well.
I think it's nice as well because you can start to introduce children to a variety of sports as well from this. They might watch table tennis. And it's something so easy to do in a setting. We've all got tables.
It opens up doors. Even
buy little ping pong balls, and you can use any sort of racket to play table tennis. But it was so easy to do.
Even for adults, it always shows whenever there's an Olympics year, that following period of time, there's always an increase in water sports. Like people wanted to sign up to swimming and stuff. Yeah, that. But there's people take up sports inspired by the Olympics so much, especially in 2012. I think they showed the amount of sports participation. That next 12-month cycle was at an all-time high.
That was big though as well because it was on home soil, wasn't it?
Of course, that always doesn't matter. But that we're still seeing the effects of an increased funding into our sports, but also we're also seeing the long-term, I think, generational effect of the Olympic Games in this country.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were inspired by it, and that's now you're seeing them
massively
competing in the Games. The first thing I put down was, this is a bit of a funny one, but the power of failure and the power of failure in sport, because most of the time when you're a sportsman, unless you happen to be, I don't know, Pep Guardiola, Messi, or like absolutely elite of elite, most of the time in sport, you're failing.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
as a fan, you feel like you're failing too.
Yeah. But like most of the time, in a weird way, you are in a battle of failure. It depends on where you mark that. But all these athletes in the Olympics, for example, have all failed massively in their careers.
To get to the point they're at.
They keep going and they keep going and they keep going. And they eventually, with that hard work and that accumulation of failure, ends up with them being a champion. And it's how you take failure. If you take failure as, oh, failed, whatever, give up, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do a different sport, well, you will probably never achieve, because you'll be constantly changing and you'll never be dedicated. That
discipline comes in, that self-discipline to keep going and keep trying even when you fail. And that's such a lovely skill to teach children. It's even through, we don't always do it through sports, we do it through independence and everything like that. But that skill of determination and discipline to keep trying is so important.
And I think from our perspective, normalising failure, not accepting it as, okay, yeah, we'll put it now.
Yeah.
It's actually, how can we harness failure to make it, instead of being something that defeats us, something that actually becomes a really powerful tool, because it helps develop emotional regulation. You know, if a child tries to climb up a tree and fails immediately and falls on the bum, I'm a bit embarrassed, and also it hurt my bum a little bit. But they have that emotional regulation not to then divulge straight into that cry and that just upset. Instead, we deal with that. We learn to harness that. And that's a massive part of our job role as educators throughout early years, but also into school.
That's one affirmation that I really like to push as well, is that I can do hard things.
Yeah.
I can do things that are hard, or hard things that are tricky. And that's really important. I was helping a 2-year-old put their shoes on, which we all know is one of my favourite tasks. And
Wait, did they have shoelaces?
No, thankfully not. Velcro. It was all good. And he says, I can't do it. I said, it's okay. We can do hard things. We can try and we can do hard things. That's okay. So I held the shoe open. He pushed his foot in and we did it together. And then next time we'll try and we'll do something different to try and make it. But he was getting himself in a right, I can't do this. I can't do it. Can't do it. But the fact he asked for help was really good, because that's one way to deal with failure, is that somebody knowing that someone else can help you is really important as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's partly our role, to make sure that children know they have a support network, a really strong and stable support network behind them. That's what gives them the confidence to go and not just fail, but play and do all sorts of other things.
And that's where it comes into sport as well, is that if you can't do something, you can't achieve someone in high-level sports, you've got your coaches and you've got those teammates around you. So you can ask other people for help and support when needed, which is really important.
And I think the best way to sort of round off failure is it's your response to failure that defines you as a person, not the failure in itself. And that's not just sport, but look at like business. The amount of like really successful and famous business people, you know, how many of them have gone like into liquidation, or like businesses have collapsed and failed, but then they've done it again. And yes, okay, right, they might have the monetary means and backing to do that. But I'm sure there's lots of people who I don't know who have failed, but then built themselves back up or done it, and in any walk, shape or form of life. And I think the Olympics, for me, summarises that better than probably anything else, because they are real human beings. They're real people, which sounds stupid because footballers are and other sports are. Absolutely, I'm not belittling that. But there's something about the Olympics, especially as so many of them aren't in a team sport and so many of them don't get paid millions to do it. So many of them just get by through Olympic funding and the lottery funding and stuff. They just make enough money, or they have other jobs, and they just do it because they're so passionate and it's such a dream, and they're so determined to get to a place. They won't let any failure stop them. They'll just keep going. And even if you aren't getting a gold or silver or bronze this Olympics, my hat goes off there, every single one of those athletes there.
100%.
Because, you know, what
an experience though as well. Yeah, to qualify to go to the Olympics.
To just be able to tell your grandchildren or whatever that you went to the Olympics as an Olympian.
Yeah.
That's
You can always spot an Olympian because they've got the tattoo.
Is that
I'm sure that's the thing. Most Olympians have the Olympic rings tattooed on them.
If you are an Olympian, and
get in touch.
You confirm or deny, let us know on Instagram whether you have a tattoo
I could get one.
But you haven't been to the Olympics.
Exactly. Be a layer.
Next up, we've got physical.
Sorry, do you reckon if you go to a tattoo artist and you ask for the Olympic ring, you have to have proof that you were an Olympian? Otherwise, you can't do this.
My favourite tattoos of sport are always those idiots who get like England champions on this tournament, like written on their leg before we like. There was that guy, wasn't there, before the final? They got England champions Euro 2024 on his legs.
Really?
Before the final.
It's all right. He could probably get that.
Well, he says he can easily change to 428. Yeah. I was like, that's the spirit.
That's the way to think about it.
Don't let failure define you. Just keep changing that tattoo.
Just keep changing the day. Well, Scott's going to come off to 28. 32. That's going to be tricky to change 28 to 32.
Assuming as well that we get no more like COVID delays or anything like that. Let's go screw up the schedule.
Or he could just put Euros runner-up of champions.
Or we could just wait a few days and actually know what the result is before he gets a tattoo. That would help, wouldn't it?
Sorry, I'm going off peak again.
Next up, we've got physical development and knowledge. I mean, this seems quite an obvious one.
Yeah, and we've done an episode already on physical development and the importance of it and things like that. And that's one reason why we talk about physical exercise in terms of sport. With young children, it's having that healthy relationship with exercise and making exercise fun and then wanting to do it. And Olympics, like you say, is a great way to do that because there's so many different sports to choose from.
And we were having a conversation, actually, weren't we, like at home when we were watching it. And like, one of the things I said that sort of links to this, that I don't think we really discussed on the last podcast, was even when we have children, I don't know why I focused on a girl more than a boy. But when we were talking about it, and it's having, I'd like to create an environment for all of them where they actually want to play rather than force them to do sports and things like that. And the Olympics is such a great pool for this, that you encourage children to actually aspire to be an athlete or whatever it is, like that level, someone who's not maybe stick thin, but is powerful and athletic, rather than aspiring to be, I don't know, I'm going to pick on the Kardashians, but apologies, the Kardashians. But do you know what I mean? Aspiring to be images that you see on social media that maybe aren't really real human beings. It's airbrushed, it's fake. There may be a lot of bad eating habits involved there. Don't know if I'm wording this well, but like you get the athletes where you get real. You might see stretch marks, you might see this, that, and the other, but they're real human beings and they're incredible and they're powerful and they do this, and they eat well. And
I was going to say, you can tell that they look after their bodies because of the shape that they're in and the physical abilities that they have.
Yeah. You see the divers and to know that they may not have body shapes that necessarily you'd say, right, that looks like something you'll see on an Instagram model, blah, 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 but they're real human beings and they can do amazing things. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. And because connected then with that, rather than mental health issues and under eating and this, and trying to chase something that isn't real, no one else sees, like a slight blemish on your arm or a slight crooked tooth or this, that and the other.
Are you picking on me now?
Whereas, but do you know what I mean? Instead, celebrating the fact that this person can run in this distance, they can lift this weight, they can do that, or they've got that level of determination with with one of the para athletes. Like, I think that's what we should be as a society looking up to, as opposed to, oh my God, she's so skinny, isn't that amazing? It's like, not really, I guess. No, but I think that's what I was trying to say.
They're so strong, aren't they, physically?
Yeah.
I always watch the Olympics and think, oh my God, like they're just incredible.
Yeah, and because what's connected
physically
with that,
able to do
with that image is, you know, a good relationship with food, knowing that it's a strong source of fuel that your body needs, and eating the right amount, being physically active and fit, and all of these things, and praising that and putting that on a pedestal, as opposed to a slightly darker side of I blame social media, but that is often where it comes from with young girls, and then it gets in their head. And I'm also saying girls a lot, and I appreciate it's not just girls, it is girls and boys. But yeah, that's just about. But I think there's often a stereotype there as well, isn't there? Boys go to the gym, but you know,
I think we're coming away from that.
A lot of men as well do struggle with mental health. Social media does help. It's all the same trope as girls.
Yeah, but I think one thing that actually I see a lot on social media now of people going to the gym and getting fit and being strong and lifting weights, and I think that's really good to see, because even for me, when I go to the gym, that's what I want to do. I don't want to necessarily, I always talk about losing weight and things, but it's not really that. It's a sense of like growing muscle, because you want to be toned and you want to look good and feel
Tone's
good.
a band word.
No, I know, but
that's part of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, women, what they mean is, I want to build muscle, I want to put this muscle on, and and rather than just being solely focused on diets and diet culture and that and the other. Obviously, there's a place for it. There's obviously we all want to diet down and stuff. I do the same when I go on holiday, like et cetera, et cetera. But how many people do you know who have been on diets for like 5 years? And it's the same thing. And it's just what actually you need to talk about is let's just look at lifestyles and the way we live. And are you happy with your lifestyle? Are you not happy with your lifestyle? Well, if you're happy, then why you beat yourself over the head? Like,
yeah, true.
Maybe just do a bit more exercise, walk a bit more, run if you can. Like, just do a bit more.
Thank you for saying if you can.
If you can, but even if there's people who you can do other bits and people.
Yeah,
I'm talking about such a wide range of people. Whatever you can do just to get out a bit more. Because I mean, this is now I'm going to go straight into this because this links. But the actual mental benefits of physical activity when we talk about neurotransmitters and endorphins, and I mean, I've had an injury for the past like 2 and a bit months that meant I couldn't run. I haven't been able to run now since May, or in nearly August, and that gets to me, like massively gets to me because. It makes me feel good, and it's so part of my routine. When I've not got that, I feel it. Do you know what I mean? And you can go too much the other way. You can then get obsessed with it. Like that's what life is. It's a really tricky balancing part of life.
I have a love-hate relationship with exercise because when I do it, I love it, but I also absolutely hate being sweaty. Like, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I don't like running because I cannot stand being sweaty. Like I just can't do it. And if I'm exercising and I get to the point where I'm like going to start sweating, I have a mental stop because I just don't do it.
I still personally think if you got into that and broke that barrier down,
100%,
you would find
100%. I know if I broke that barrier down, but I also I do love exercise when I do it because I always come back from the gym. Like swimming, I really enjoy swimming. I have done swimming my entire life, did swimming lessons, etc. So I love swimming. I'm not the most powerful swimmer. I don't throw myself in and swim up and down. My younger sister, was at a point where she had to choose if she wanted to go and swim for the county because she was that good. But then she chose, obviously, going to school. Like school became more of a priority, and because you do have to choose, because you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning in the pool, you do have to what is going to give. And I went swimming with her the other day, and I said to her, "Look, you just go." Because I just like a gentle breaststroke, whereas she's like, her goggles went on and she was off. And she said afterwards, interestingly, that even though she knew that I could not have cared less, that who was winning, she felt in competition. So she had to swim faster than me, even though I was doing a pathetic, leisurely swim. Like, I hadn't even taken my mascara off to do this swim. So I wasn't there for a competition. But that is a healthy relationship with that sport because the competition side of her came out. We were the only 2 people in the pool. Like, she was racing against me.
It was a bit much, though, when you phoned me and I had to come down with medals and put on the podium. And that was embarrassing, I'll be completely honest. But no.
But her relationship with swimming is so competition mode and she loves it. And you can tell after she's done it, she feels so good. Whereas I get the same buzz just from moving my body. Yeah. And I go to yoga and Pilates classes. And yes, it's not raising my heart rate like you tell me every week, but I do feel I didn't do it for a couple of weeks. And when we got to the balance section, oh my God, I was like a tree. I was wobbling all over the place and not the good yoga kind of tree where you're nice and still.
And the thing is, if we as adults recognise this, the benefits of children exercising, just from a neurological standpoint, the release of dopamine and other bits and pieces of neurotransmitters like that, it's real, and that then really helps them to regulate. And I don't think it can be underestimate how important exercise is for adults and society, but children, like and early years children, it's so important. Even if you ignore the physical components of it and the developing of bone structure and muscles and all this bits and balance and all the things you take for granted, just from the standpoint of emotional development, it's huge. Yeah. Because if you're stagnant, if you're just sitting all the time and we get sucked into the world of iPads and things like that constantly, and you're a stationary child, mentally, you're not getting that same release of those neurotransmitters, and your brain will not be as healthy. obviously, again, caveat that with if you are capable of moving, etc., etc.
Yeah, of course.
There's obviously some other areas, but I think in general, encouraging children to be active and healthy and moving, and the onus is on parents as well as anything, because again, like we said at the very start, children tend to mimic and copy parents and the role models in their life. Predominantly outside of nursery are the parents or the caregivers. So really being good role models in that sense is vitally important.
Do you know, sorry, just something I've seen on Instagram recently, someone that I follow on my personal Instagram, a local women's personal trainer, she every week does she calls it the school run mums class.
Yeah.
So it fits in around drop-offs and things.
Sure.
But at the moment, obviously it's school holidays, and a lot of the mums bring their kids now to the session.
Right, okay.
And she has said that if your child wants to come to the session, absolutely bring them along. Just let me know so I can plan something for them to do. And she always posts videos where the mums that are going or have like toddlers, and they'll join in, and she'll give them like different weights, because obviously they can't lift the kettlebells and stuff that they're lifting, but she gets things so that they can get involved. So it's like a foam roller that they're using instead, and they're copying the movements and they're getting involved. And it's really nice to see that actually now it's the school holidays, she is promoting free of charge for those children to come and join and even just watch.
Yeah, man.
Because watching your parents do exercise, it's people you look up to. So she always says, like, the children coming along to the session, she loves, because getting it in their mind that the healthy relationship that you can have towards exercise from a young age is really important. So yeah, it's lovely to see.
And it's so simply obvious for children growing up. We are beings that learn from our social environment and through experience. And if you grow up in an environment where it's really sporty, incredibly active, that stays with you for a long time. And yeah, of course, some people can grow up and not like it, but in general, the large percentage of population in that environment will grow up and keep those habits and keep that commitment to exercising and being positive and healthy and moving, etc., etc. So
one thing for me is I did dance a lot growing up. I did musical theatre, and it was I did an episode on the first season with Sam, my dance teacher.
Yes.
And even now doing my yoga classes, I will point my toes when we do those sorts of stretches.
Stays with you.
It stays with you. It's like muscle memory. I know that they talk, well, everyone says about muscle memory. It's like riding a bike, you just jump on and you can do it. But when I have to stretch my leg out, I will point my toe. Most people in the class are doing this, because then you get that stretch down your leg. But I always automatically just do this. Because as a dancer, you point your toe and you work these muscles. It's just different ways of doing it. And I have to really focus and be like, no, Emily, flat foot, not pointed foot. And it stays with you.
But it is amazing, though, because when you go to the gym a lot, you do a lot of gym work, I think you do develop a better control over your body, is probably I would say. The amount of people who are newbies into the gym, or like the amount of times I've taken my mum and said, right, tuck your elbows in, and they go out. But people don't.
Yeah,
it's
you have
strange.
to learn it.
And I know, take elbows in. It's that motion, or it's this, and it's teaching people how to contort and contract.
One thing you say to me when you use the leg press: push with your heels, not your toes.
Yeah.
And it's just little things like that you learn, that you say, that control over your body. And one thing we wanted to talk about with children and even adults, when you do exercise and you do sport, is that confidence boost.
Yeah.
Because you feel so good afterwards, and you feel like you've achieved something new. And it's the same for children when they're able to take part in sport and compete. And it's not always the competing, it's just the doing something and achieving something new. Or if you play football or you do dancing or whatever it is, if you've achieved something new, then you feel good and they feel good as well. So sport and physical exercise always promotes that confidence and self-esteem for children, which is so important.
So that's self-worth, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you know you've done something amongst a high collective of people who are also really good at something, but you're better at, that's good. It's great for developing that ability. And if you would achieve something you've tried to achieve for a long period of time, again, that satisfaction and that confidence, that self-efficacy that comes along.
But even if you don't achieve it straight away, but you still are a bit closer to it, the confidence you get then to, like you say, you respond to the failure because you've achieved something a little bit more, and you keep going is really important.
It can be something stupid like your time on Strava. You've just gone for a Sunday run and you're a couple of seconds up, and you have to be an athlete. That can be anybody, and that can be any time. It doesn't matter. Just those little things in life, or finally competing a 10K and you walked half of it, but you yourself
did it. Yeah,
couldn't have even ran a kilometre, let alone the 5 kilometres you did. And it's little things like that, isn't it, that give you that boost to then go on and do more. And that's what I always say with you. The first time you run and the second time you run, you get sweaty, you get over it, but the mental benefits that come with that
massive, will
quickly outweigh. And a lot of the case with things like physical exercise, and a lot of people who have that mental barrier around it, sometimes just finding that routine and making it so it's not about whether I feel motivated to go or not. Well, on Wednesday at this time, I go to the gym, and that's my time away from the kids or whatever it might be. That's my time. So I have to go because that's my routine.
And you hope that kids feel like that when they go to a club.
When you said that, I was thinking about when they go to a nightclub.
A sporting club.
This is my time to shine.
This is it. But like, what's the rugby one? It's called Rugby Tots. I think it's all over the country.
Yeah.
And kids might think like Saturday morning, like that is my time. That's where I feel good and I get to go and exercise. So I think we shouldn't, just because they're children, they can't always express that. We shouldn't take it away from them. Even if you're not feeling up for it and you're like, oh, got to get up early, got to go to Rugby Tots. Think about what the benefits it has for the child. So I think it's really important.
We're all so routinal as like beings.
Yes.
And children especially, you see it in the effect of a nursery routine day to day and the importance of those flows and that rhythm. And adults are the same. We just become a little bit better at dealing with those wobbles in our movement. Some of us more than others are better at dealing with change. But yeah, I know. I love it. Do you know what? I hate monotonous routine, but I need a routine. Does that make sense? I don't do this same thing every day, but I need to know what much. To be honest with you, it's not so much routine. I just need to know.
Yeah,
I have to be in control of what is going on. I hate like when it just changes out of nowhere.
So many people are going to diagnose you with something from just that statement.
And then team sport I've put, but really, when we talk about school. And often we talk about like the negative aspects of school, and where like last week we talked about oh my God, what the hell did we talk about? No, we didn't.
No. Self-expression.
I kept saying self-expression in my head. I was like, that wasn't it. Self-expression and that creativity and that individualism, and the lacking of that in school necessarily show it. The other skills and traits that the workplace look for, and they often, when you talk about what does the workplace look for, they look for these like team building, the ability to work in a team, the ability to communicate, togetherness, and to be able to work in a social environment,
part of the team, a positive part of the team,
and leadership traits as well, and all these things that you don't necessarily get from school.
No,
you don't necessarily develop these things unless we're talking about really high caliber teachers who managed to develop this somehow. But in general, it's through sport that a lot of people will develop this, or other classes, I guess, as well, like music. You can get elements of this as well, I guess, and other artistic expression.
Or even like other extracurricular groups like brownies and guides. Because I was a brownie and a rainbow and a guide, and you do learn those same sort of similar things. But then there's also physical exercise points in that as well. So,
but I think sport can harness that well. And I think sport puts you in a situation where, even if we're not talking like high level sports, we're just talking, I don't know, a group of girls playing netball or the local cricket team or whatever it might be, that socialness and working together and having like a group goal,
being able to communicate with others in a different way is important as well.
Yeah, because you quickly learn about yourself, whether you are an actual vocal leader or if you lead by example, or whether actually you're just happy to focus on your own game and fit within a team and support and help people and be a team player, but not necessarily take that leadership role necessarily. There's lots of different ways, and that's fine. Not everybody needs to be a chief. You know, some really high caliber.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Somebody's got to wash the pots.
And sometimes a good leader takes a step back and allows other people, because otherwise it's just going to be people fighting for the sake of it, and that will damage the end goal of the team and things like that. And sport really gives children a vehicle and opportunity to do that.
Yeah, no, it does. You're right.
And then I think that also leaks into talking about breaking down discrimination, sort of our final point. I think for children, even if they come from very sheltered backgrounds, and that's not a slight to anyone, I grew up in a primary and a secondary school where it wasn't very mixed. It was
No,
predominantly
it's diverse, wasn't
white
it?
English children, and you didn't have much diversity in there, whereas others can come from inner city predominantly and is very diverse and etc. Sport can often break that down. You often then go and play sport and you are faced with more children from different diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I think for young children, it just really helps to hit home the point that we're all the same. We all same
enjoy
thing.
Yeah, if you're doing a tournament and even if you've in the, like you say, your village team is got predominantly white British children, if you go to a competition you might not be faced with children of the same as you. So the fact that you can see that even if you look different, it doesn't matter, we all enjoy the same things and we all want to take part and do different activities, and that's okay. So yeah, like you're right, it does expose children to a variety of different people and different faces and different abilities as well, because not everybody's going to be as good as you, or you're not going to be as good as everybody else. So that's really good to learn as a young child.
I remember when I was a young child and we played against Corby, and every single member of that football team was Scottish. And as like a 13-year-old, I was so confused. I was like, what's going on? Why is their entire team Scottish, but they're only actually like 20 minutes away from my house?
The big Scottish community.
Yeah, it's huge. So finally, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun to finish this and talk about what
This went very differently, didn't it, when you said it to me?
We'll go with your original idea. What does an early years Olympics look like?
Okay. Three events, not sport.
Three events that
I would
early
put
years
into
children
early years Olympics
would take part in.
Okay. Number one,
Go on, this yawn.
tidy up time.
So the fastest tidy upper.
The most effective tidy up.
How do you measure that then?
Because tidy up time sometimes is, let's pick everything up off the floor. It all just goes on a table. No.
Yeah.
The toys have to go back where they belong.
Back in their places.
Back in their places. So the most effective tidy up time in a certain time frame.
So this is like a Montessori off.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Okay,
That would be my first one.
My one would be so a 20-metre race, but wellies are on the wrong feet.
Oh no, then you get banana feet. That's what we want to avoid, Ben. I can tell you're not with the children every day because banana feet are a bad thing.
But it's very early years.
It's very early years, yeah. Or just in wellies in general.
Yeah.
It was like 20 degrees yesterday and kids in the garden were in wellies and you were like, what? I was like, just is what it is.
The sweaty feet, though.
It does get sweaty feet, but kids love wellies.
Got him.
Okay, my second one is who can put their coat on the fastest.
Okay.
This is predominantly aimed at preschool children, isn't it? This race, these Olympics.
I feel like we can't make babies compete with things. I feel like there's moral issues with that.
So, yeah, mine would be coats on, zips done up. Who can do that?
Oh, just give me flashbacks to that poor child.
Oh, that was really sad, wasn't it? Not all the way up.
Then my next one would be who can cover themselves in the most paint within 30 seconds.
Yeah, good. I like that.
Not even paint, actually. We could do food as well. Could go to a cafeteria so you can get them covered in the most food in the short amount
I
of
like
time.
paint. I think that's a good idea.
I think paint was a good one.
That's a good idea, yeah. Okay, and then my third one, mine was food related, my third one. So my third one is who can make their sandwich the quickest.
Make the sandwich?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you can get the most...
the bread, put the filling on, put the other sandwich on top and cut it up. Who can do that the fastest?
I thought we were going to go for who can get the most rice just spread across the room. Who can cover the most square meters.
Couscous and rice are the worst things to sweep up. Top tip, just sprinkle some sand on top of it. It dries it up and you can sweep it.
Right. I haven't actually got a third one. It would probably be something along the lines of who can consume the most edible parts of a tough tray.
No.
Who can eat the most cereal.
Who can do the highest jump.
Highest jump, just highest jump. No comedic.
How many times a child says, look what I can do.
Yeah, always throwing.
And they'll just jump.
Always just throwing an inanimate object.
Yeah, look what I can do.
It's always wrist, isn't it, when kids throw things. It's always them quite developed to be like
so
full arm.
Early years Olympics would be... I can't remember what the first one was. Tidy up time. Welly race. Coats on.
Paint covering.
And sandwich making.
And was it be the sixth one we just talked about?
Throwing.
Just throwing things.
Shot put bar own version.
Yeah.
Anything. Dinosaur. They'll just go.
Dinosaur.
So yeah. That would be our earliest Olympics.
Actually, I'll tell you what else children are really good at we could do as a competition. It's not necessarily physical as such, but just saying miss whatever your name is, most times they can within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or maybe just it's a question.
You get that a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Ben, Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben, what are you doing? Why are you here? Mr. Ben, what's this? What's this?
What are you doing? What's that? What are you building that?
What's
that for? What's that for? You that for me? Oh, do you remember the other day one of our maintenance team was building something and one of the kids went, what? He said, what are you building? Oh, so you come over. Oh, I'm going to break that.
Or the other one the other day where...
He was like, please don't, I've just built this for you.
Or the one we got last week, where is, Miss Emily, is that your daddy?
I was like, no, that's Ben. Or we were just in the middle of a conversation, we went, what colour's your house? I was like, well, it's like brick. Oh, what colour's your house? He said, and then his friend next to him, you're not going to ask what colour my house is? I was like, I'm so sorry, what colour's your house? He's like, well, orange. I was like, right. And we were talking about something completely, that's why I love kids. I just think they're fabulous.
But they are
all of a sudden,
they're
just words, whatever you're thinking, it just comes out.
They're just unfiltered humans, like adults, aren't they? That's all they are.
That was a weird action. I just did. I'm so sorry. The words just come out.
But they are just unfiltered humans.
So yeah, it's brilliant.
They just say what we don't say.
Yeah, we couldn't just, if you're in the middle of it, like right now, I can just go, Ben, what colour's your house?
Yeah, I do sometimes.
You do, yeah.
But you wouldn't just go up to some... It's like when people are having a conversation and they go, oh, so-and-so, what's your favourite film? And they go, oh, they're my fifth. And then you're like waiting for someone to ask you what your favourite film is.
Yeah,
and no one ever does.
No. Can't say. No one going to ask me what my favourite film is.
Yeah, guys, I know you didn't ask, but my favourite film... Yeah. Whereas a child would be like, sorry.
Sorry, did someone ask me? Because no one's asked me yet.
Let's be nice.
Right.
We done?
We're done. Olympics. Everyone enjoyed the Olympics.
Oh, it's the swimming tonight.
Is it? I love swimming.
Yeah, we get some swimming medals because then the athletics is on next week.
Yeah. Right. Have a lovely week, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this Olympic sport physical exercise special.
And if this hasn't inspired you to go for a run and watch the Olympics and just become an Olympian,
yeah,
then I don't know what will.
No, I don't know either.
I don't know.
Don't bother watching because you're not going to get inspired by it. If you're not inspired by us.
Right, on that note.
Have a lovely week, everybody, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.